Hello, Aquarius. Welcome to The Modern Spiritualist. My name is Raheem. Today we're going to look at April for you. Thank you for your patience this month. My dog died, and I was in the middle of launching my new coaching program. So between those two things, everything else just really slowed down and got pushed back. So I appreciate your patience. We're going to do Celtic Cross Spread for the month of April. I'm using the Jungian Tarot plus a Threads of Fate Oracle card for your Catalyst energy. Your Catalyst energy is going to serve as the highest alignment possible in terms of the use of these energies this month. So if you get lost in process or if you find yourself in a spiral, you can refer back to the Catalyst energy to remind yourself, what you're doing right now, Aquarius. So let's get started. So Sacred Sexuality came out as your Catalyst energy. It's in the reverse. So I'm just feeling a need to redirect your creative energy because it seems like it's getting a little bit stuck right at your navel. It's up, it's going up, but it's not going down. But it's also very, very movable. So some of you just maybe like Kundalini activation or just things kind of moving in your body. This is a good month for like tantric work or any kind of movement-based work or just being out in nature. And then also, what's sticking out to me here is the globe here. The globe on this card, it's just really making me reference the earth, like think of the earth and the kind of sort of erotic connection that we all have to the earth and the ecosystem around us because we all come out of the earth, right? And so, everything that we see that grows, that is alive, is just kind of held together by the earth's love, and that earth's love is something that we can tap into. And so I think, Aquarius, it makes sense. You're an air sign. You're particularly intelligent air sign. And so I feel like it's easy for you guys to kind of connect with the ecstasy of, thought and air and ether and spirit and things like that. And this is encouraging you to kind of bring that excitement, that ecstasy down to the ground and experience it on the physical material level. So going out into nature, I think, would be really good, or just connecting with the earth or your body in some way that feels, sensual, erotic, ecstatic, or just simply, loving, joy. Connecting with the joy of being in a body, engaging with the senses, being out in nature, things like that is kind of the key here. It feels really, really beautiful. It feels like nothing's wrong. It just feels like this is a great opportunity to do what you already do, kind of waist high and up, and kind of bring it down into the yin space, into the core of the earth, and just kind of create a greater sense of holistic balance that way. I think that's all that's being asked of you there. Moving into the Celtic Cross Spread, at the center we have the Devil reversed. I feel like I did a reading for you, I think it was back in January, that was just like really sexual, like really kinky, like explore your kinks, dismantle all of the narratives that prevent you from, being in your full sexuality. That it feels like there's a bit of a return here, except now the Devil's reversed, and it's this sense of like you're freeing yourself from previous like bonds, right? Freeing yourself from addiction, walking away from habit patterns that don't serve you, walking away from limiting beliefs that don't serve you. And because that is happening, there's this veil lifting, right? And it looks like you just have a greater access to the world around you. I'm an Aquarius, Mercury, and Venus. And, there are several reasons for this, but I feel like especially in early life, because of my trauma, the way that I coped with my trauma was kind of just creating dream worlds, and living in them, and just not really having an experience of being in my body in the world because it was too painful. And so, that was just a habit pattern that had solidified over time. And then it got to a point where I kind of dismantled all that and was able to enjoy the present moment and being in my body and just kind of having a sensory experience. What else do we incarnate for? We incarnate to enjoy that. So that's kind of what's coming up for me here, is like, freeing yourself from the thought patterns or the kind of like trauma that keeps you out of good relationship with your body, and by way of good relationship with your body, kind of all of life, right? Because our bodies are what connect us into being and the earth as a being and things like that. So it looks like you're just kind of moving away from habit patterns that kept you stuck or out of your body, and yeah, and coming back into a greater flow and sense of grounding. I was also on something else here. Oh yeah. The sexuality thing. It feels like, you know, it was a way in. It was a way for you to kind of connect into your body back in January, back into your kinky side, into your kind of like thonic side, wild side, whatever. And this feels more grounded and sustainable. Like you needed to feel that kind of wildness to get out of whatever you were in. And now you can kind of solidify it and ground it and centralize it. And so instead of kind of being wild and all over the place, you can kind of establish a true root system. And that's kind of what I'm feeling here is establishing true roots in a really centered kind of way and expanding out of sexuality. Not that you can't, you know, have that wild sexual part of you, that's part of it, but also kind of adding to that and refining that into kind of a sense of like platonic eros, like a sexual but non-sexual way to connect ecstatically with life around you. I feel like that's the invitation here. Crossing that energy, we have the Seven of Swords. There's just a ways to go still. I'm getting a lot of sacral solar plexus-y stuff, and it kind of, yeah, it feels like a weird yellow that kind of coagulates here, but it kind of starts in my back brain and kind of orbits back around. So I think there's still limiting beliefs to clear, or you know, just like trauma patterns to clear, and it seems like they are particularly sneaky. And so it's like, you know, the work and growth that you've already done and healing that you've already done, just bypass these because they're more deeply embedded. So you kind of have to do another layer, right? And it's making me feel nauseated. It wants out. It wants to, like, makes me want to vomit. So it's like ready to come up, and that's why it's surfacing now. And so just remind yourself there's more to go. But you've already done a lot of good work, and this is already on its way out. Trying to feel deeper into that. Are there any other messages? A lot of it is thought patterns that you're trying to move away from consciously, but unconsciously they still have a grip on you, and it's because they're really embedded in your body. I'm feeling like my spine in the back around my solar plexus area, and then kind of around in the front too. And so getting into your body is essential, and doing some practices and grounding practices would be essential to try to move that. If you do yoga or Tai Chi or something like that, do it. Or if you have any other clearing practices, then do them. I think what I'm getting here is that you'll be paying attention to the thought patterns that come up around it. But I think the tendency will be to just kind of say, I don't believe that, and just kind of move away from it, which is not the worst thing. It's better than getting trapped in the thought pattern and looping, right? But they still need to be addressed. You can't just keep walking away from the thought itself, because the thought is coming out of a deeper rooted trauma. So just address that if you can. Past affecting the present, we have the Two of Wands reversed. I feel kind of just like a burning away, in a good way, like a burning away of just this like layer of my skin, or like an energetic layer that's no longer serving me. It feels like it's roped right into this devil's energy and the Seven of Swords energy. So it's solar plexus-y in nature, something about the will, right use of will, and self-esteem and things like that, confidence, and this burning away of gross stuff, like just this, you know, kind of like toxic film that was preventing you from looking at yourself clearly. And yet this is work you already did. This burned away all that. And so I think what's remaining, I keep getting a pull to this here, is like what is remaining needs to be addressed. And the balance between that is all the work that you've done is already really, really good. And there's still work to do in this area. So just be thankful that you have the access because of the work that you've already did that burned away so much. There may be a tendency to kind of be like, I can't believe there's more. I don't want to deal with this anymore. But I think that comes out of, you know, feeling like what you've already done isn't enough, which it was. This is just the next step. And so I think Spirit's trying to get you to realize that this is a thing to be grateful for, because you've done all this work already, and these are really deep-rooted issues that now you get the opportunity to address and move past. And so it's a good thing, ultimately, right? In your foundation this month, we have the Page of Cups reversed. So don't neglect your emotions. Because this Seven of Swords is a swords energy, an air energy, you're going to be super aware of them on the thought level. You know, the thoughts around this issue are going to come up, and they're going to be very plain for you to see, right? And I feel like there may just be some frustration because you're tired of dealing with the same, narratives that you consciously don't believe in anymore, but they keep popping up and they keep popping up, right? So this Page of Cups reverse thing is kind of saying that it's because you're not in your body enough and you're not dealing with the emotions around it enough. I'm feeling it's like it's really not important what the beliefs are maybe around this because you don't believe them. And so the thoughts that are coming up that you don't believe isn't actually moving the energy. It's just you kind of redirecting something, but it's still there. So you just need to be able to access the emotions. And I think to be able to do that, you're going to need some sort of creative outlet. I think dance would be a great thing to do this month. Or some sort of creative outlet that allows you to access your emotions. I know that's hard for Aquarius, so you probably already know your ways in, so just tap into them, and that's what's going to move this energy ultimately, because it's emotional at its source, not thought-based, okay? And that's what's going to support you the most, is getting into the body and getting into the emotions. Crowning you this month, we have the Six of Pentacles. That's a breath of fresh air, a bit. But a bit head heavy as well. It's almost like your mind is working overtime to try to assess what is right, what is fair, what is just, what is good for me, what is balanced, instead of just feeling into what it actually feels like to be in that space. So again, what I'm kind of getting is get out of your mind and into your body. This crowning you means that this is what you're thinking about. So I just don't want you to strain too hard because it really just feels like a brick in my mind and my body feels clear, whereas before it wasn't. So it's kind of like, it's almost like this weird dance, I feel like, between these three cards with this energy being at the core, is this energy is just being moved around a little bit. It's like, oh, it's uncomfortable in my mind or it's not effective. So let's pass it down to the body, and then your body kind of moves with it, and then it kind of like, your body gets tired or tight or whatever, and you want relief, and so it kind of comes back and coagulates in your brain. It's like it's just kind of shifting back and forth. And I just want to remind you that whatever that is, that will pass eventually. Let's see what these other cards have in store. But yeah, I try not to just strain yourself thinking about what is right, what is just, what is balanced, what do I need, what, because I think you're going to end up creating too much of a rigidity for yourself. Pentacles in the crown, it just seems like it's going to be too rigid, because this is an earth energy, and the crowning position is air. And so I don't think your mind needs to work overtime for that stuff. I think that, again, you should just sink into your body and let your body decide, what feels good to you. Just bypass the mind. I don't think the thoughts that you're thinking right now, it's not like they're unproductive or wrong. It's that because the source is emotional and old and like traumatic in your body, your mind just can't do the work for you. Your body has to do it. New circumstance, we have the King of Swords. So you're going to come into a new mental space. A lot of this stuff, it's going to be cleared, and you're moving into that space now. This is kind of, like I said before, this is the last gasp because you've already burned so much away. So this is where you're going. The King of Swords is somebody that just has total authority and control over their mental faculties. They're mentally sharp, they're acute, they're not overrun with stagnant mental energy. They just have complete control. They're clear-minded when they need to be, and they think things through and analyze when they need to. And this is who you're becoming. This is who you're stepping into. The only thing in your way is this energy here. And it's old. It is old energy, which is why it feels like it has this death grip on you right now. So remind yourself that this has been here before. This has been here for a long time. You're only aware of it now, of the discomfort of it, because of all the work that you've done. That now it's clear to you, which is an accomplishment. And this is where you're headed, which is just a clear-headed, way to be. So all this stuff is going to move. You just need to move it into your body and channel it out. Tantra would be great. Doing, movement work in nature would be great. Yeah, whatever you can do to just heal it physiologically. That's all you need to do. Your mind doesn't actually have to do the work. It's just once everything else kind of filters out and clears out of your body, your mind's just instantly going to do what it needs to be doing. And so you're ultimately working towards a clear mind by way of sinking more deeply into your body and kind of accessing the ecstasy of the third dimensional world. Okay. Your ego this month. 9 of Wands. It gets worse before it gets better. Because there's always the greatest tension right before the release. It's just physics. It's not even something that I'm trying to make this emotional story or like hero's journey story. It's worse before it gets better because it tightens the most right before release. And I feel like you, in terms of this energy, are just in the tightest space right now, so it feels the most uncomfortable. So what this is saying is that it's almost over. You're kind of in the worst of it right now. And once it releases itself, it's just going to release itself, and you're going to feel so much better. You're going to be able to deflate, in a good way, so you can really feel your breath. I just feel so much tightness in your body, especially your spine and your chest and your throat too, up into your head. Yeah. And it's just the energy needs to be released. And so, yeah, I mean, this being in your ego position, this is just your energy. This is where you're at right now. Everything's just tight. And it's going to be released soon. And I think that's really all I can say on that right now, because I've already kind of given you the process multiple times. And I don't want to belabor the point just for the sake of your own sense of knowing what to do. My point being, I know that you know what to do. I'm not trying to insult your intelligence by repeating myself. I'm just kind of saying what energy is coming through, and it just seems to be kind of the same core thing. So in your environment, we have the Queen of Wands. This could be somebody else in your life, a partner, maybe. A really good time to connect with somebody else via Tantra. Experimenting with, tantric sex with a partner, or just having sex with a partner in general. I mean, it's gonna help relieve the tension. So that's pretty self-explanatory. If you can have sex, have it. That will help you. It will help you connect with the senses, with your body, all of those things. If it's not sexual, this could be a teacher that you connect with that teaches you how to get into your body. That is just kind of a Queen of Wands energy, which is somebody who's very dynamic and directional and also receptive to energy at the same time. Because the fire, the Wands is masculine, the Queen is obviously feminine. So it's kind of this combination. It reminds me of this card, actually. It's kind of this combination of feminine and masculine, where you've got all that forward directional energy of the masculine and all the receptivity and ability to absorb information in the feminine. So what this person will be able to do is see you accurately, read you accurately for what's going on with you. Receptivity, be able to listen, and then also be able to help you harness that sexual energy in the right way, or just that procreative energy in the right way. So there's somebody in your corner, and that's the person that's going to get you through this. Okay, so just watch out for that person. Hopes and fears this month, we have the Two of Cups reversed. I feel a fear, and it's calling back to the Page of Cups. A real fear of emotional vulnerability. Now, that could be with this person, who you need to reach out to, but you're afraid. If that's the case, because this is in the upright, it's okay to reach out to them. You'll be fine. They'll be able to help you, and they'll want to help you. And so absolutely make that call, send that email, do whatever you need to do, have that conversation, because they're going to see you for who you really are and actually be able to help you. So that's all good there. The Two Cups reverse is saying you're afraid to reach out, but once you do, it's going to be fine. Okay. The anticipation is the worst part. That's kind of the Nine of Wands too. The anticipation is the worst part. And then there's just, a fear of connecting with yourself, a fear of connecting with this energy because you're afraid of what's there. So there, I just want to remind you that this has already been here. You've just been blind to it. So in discovering it, it's not going to change anything for the worse. It's not like discovering it adds it to your plate. It's already been on your plate. It's already been in your energy field. You've already been through the pain of this trauma at its source, at the time that you absorbed it, and wired yourself that way. So I would just encourage you not to be afraid of this energy, because awareness is the only way that's going to shift it. A lack of awareness never is. You're just going to be dealing with it unconsciously. If you can make this conscious and move through it and really deal with it, then you'll be able to release it and actually move on. And so there's really nothing to be afraid of. If you're afraid of the pain, you've already experienced the worst of it. Like you're not going to, it's not going to feel more painful than anything you've already experienced. So it's not going to kill you. And once you, do access, the true essence energies behind it, you can create a union with yourself. You can reunite with, the healthy aspect of that energy, and, become more self-aware, increase your sense of just like self-love and self-esteem and self-connection, and, be able to move forward in a good way. So even though you're afraid, it is the path, and sometimes we just have to face our fear and grit our teeth and do it. And I think that's what's kind of being asked of you. Not that I think it's going to be hard once you do. I feel like the anticipation here really is the worst. I think once you get things moving here, it's just going to clear out. So I really do feel like the fear is worse than the reality here. So just remind yourself of that and move forward. Okay. Crowning you this month, we have the Magician reversed. You're going to come out of here kind of not knowing what to do, I think, by the end of the month. And I don't mean that to scare you. I mean, like, you'll be going through certain changes that maybe present new things to you. And by that, I mean, you may experience like a heightened sense of desire, or a wanting, or a yearning, or like something that you want to go after that was invisible to you before. So suddenly you want something that you didn't know that you wanted. Like your desires may shift or change. And so the Magician reversed, it's even in the reversal, this is a really good card. The Magician reversed is, I think, just a little bit of analysis paralysis, because you're coming into maybe like a new dream or vision around the end of the month. And there may just be this feeling of, oh, what is this? Why is it here? Why do I want it so badly? And how do I make it happen? So just slow down. Once you kind of reach this point, you can just kind of take stock of these new desires that are rising in you, and just allow them to be desires. You don't have to pursue anything quite yet. In the reversal, the Magician is just saying that, this will go forward, just not yet. And once this goes forward, you'll start, crystallizing your vision and putting a plan in place, but you just may not get there in April. And so just allow yourself to, experience these new desires that you're having, and familiarize yourself with them and process them a little bit, and don't feel like you have to make a decision right away. And if you feel overwhelmed, just remind yourself that this is supposed to be fun. These desires and wants that are revealing themselves to you are revealing themselves to you out as a result of all of the healing work that you've done. And so you're accessing really, really deep embedded soul information here, which is a beautiful thing. It's a gift. And so it's okay to be overwhelmed by that. Just think about, the exaltation of that, really, of like the ability to access these desires that you can now take action on, right? Eventually, that's a really, really cool thing. So just remind yourself it's a gift, and we'll see where it goes, in May and in the later months. Looks like it's going to be a really solid month for you. It feels like you're already dealing with this energy, so it's not going to get worse. I think it's really only up from here. You may need to dive down deep and discover what this is so you can heal it and release it. But after you do that, it seems like you're just going to open up this space for an entirely new playing field in the coming months. And so it's a really transformative month for you. And if you can really get into your body and access that, that creative energy, that sacred sexuality, that ability to kind of connect ecstatically with the world around you, that's a completely different way to live and be in the world. It's a completely different mode of operation once you reach that place, and it just makes every moment of your life kind of magnificent, because the air just kind of electrifies around you. And so I think that's the opportunity here, which is beautiful. So that's it. Please leave a comment. Let me know what your current situation is in terms of these energies. Like this video if you liked it. It really helps out the channel when you do that. Subscribe if you want to see the next Aquarius video. You can schedule something with me in the box below as well. I can help you move this. So if that is of interest to you, then please reach out to me. And otherwise, I will see you guys in May. Have a great April. Jeez. And yeah, thanks. Love you guys.